Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to another episode of Be Relieved by Nature, where we bridge the gap between plant medicine, health science, and practical wellness that actually works in real life. I'm your host, Ashley Nicole. I am a health scientist, I am an herbalist, and a natural product formulator. And one thing that I've learned through both science and experience is this: most people are not truly lacking motivation. They're lacking regulation, and their nervous system is overloaded. Their blood sugar is unstable. Their body is running like a phone with 2% battery left, trying to operate as if it's fully charged. And today's conversation is incredibly important because we're talking about how to create sustainable energy naturally without extreme routines, burnout, or unrealistic wellness expectations. So, joining us today is our special guest speaker who'll be presenting at our June 20th event on the topic, the energy boosting morning routine for high functioning career workers. Now, this conversation is going to help busy professionals, entrepreneurs, parents, and high performing individuals to better understand how to support their body from the moment that they wake up. So, first, thank you, Ellie, so much for joining us today. We're excited to have you.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here with you.
Yes, for sure. Now, Ellie Hyvonen founded You Are Whole Coaching to empower women who feel good on paper, but chaotic on the inside. Now, I can relate to that. Mainly to just reclaim energy and mind and body. Ellie does this by replacing negative thought patterns and behaviors with sustainable habits around nourishment, rest, and movement. Now, I found it so relatable that there was a season of her life where it was marked by chronic illness, perfectionism, and disordered eating. I have a perfectionism problem. She came to realize that those behaviors were coping mechanisms for deeper struggles, and that true healing had to be rooted in identity and expressed through consistent habit change. Now, healing came as she rebuilt her relationship with nourishment, rest, and movement, aligning her daily behaviors with her belief system. And that is what mainly what her coaching is all about. Rather than focusing on the past, she helps you clarify what you want, why it matters, and then build the systems and support needed to restore balance and lasting wholeness in life transitions. Now, you know, I love systems, so I'm excited to have this conversation and discussion today. It's one thing to be knowledgeable about a subject, but another to actually have lived it, experienced it. So, let's just start here. Now, I know many people wake up already exhausted, anxious, mentally foggy, or
Mhm.
immediately overstimulated before the day even begins. So, from your perspective, Ellie, what actually is happening in the body during those first moments after waking up?
Yes, it's a great question and so true for many of us, especially overachievers, perfectionists, as I also am a recovering perfectionist. In those first moments when we're waking up, we know that our body, if it hasn't powered down correctly the night before or rested well, it's already in reaction mode. So a lot of women start the day already mentally carrying everyone else's loads or checking in with too many requirements already, and they're already doing before they're being. And so that space is just taken up. There's been that poor quality of sleep, there's been late night screen exposure, blood sugar imbalance, all contributing to that feeling of exhaustion and just that fog that happens in the morning.
For sure. I think that's such an important point because as a health scientist, I always tell people that the body speaks before it screams, right?
Hmm.
And fatigue, brain fog, the irritability that you spoke of, those are signals, not personality traits. You'll be amazed how many people
Right.
use that to kind of describe themselves. And I'm like,
Yes.
those are
Yeah.
signals.
Absolutely. And we need some cortisol in the morning. It's naturally going to rise as we're waking up. But if it's already there, right, our body's already just silently whispering and saying, hey, I'm already overwhelmed. I'm already depleted, already lacking energy. Then we're just going to be in that reaction mode right away.
For sure. Cortisol is, oh, sometimes you really have to manage it because it will, like you said, it'll be the first thing
Yep.
spiking and
Spike.
even
Yeah.
causing, yeah,
Yep.
it is interesting how that works. And I think that many people actually have normalized dysfunction because of modern culture
Mhm.
towards pushing through exhaustion.
Right.
They reward that. So I
It
definitely
is.
understand
Yeah.
that.
That performance is just honored. Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely honored. One thing that I appreciate about your approach from what I've been reading and learning about you is that you're not promoting like an unrealistic 4 a.m. productivity culture. I think I've seen so many ads on Facebook recently that says like, "Oh, wake up at 3:30 a.m. or 4 a.m.," which is nice for certain people. But why do you believe that sustainable energy is more important than simply waking up earlier?
Yeah. I think that waking up earlier, it doesn't necessarily automatically create your best health or your best productivity. Some people are definitely early morning people. I am one of those persons. I get a lot done before 8 a.m. Other people have a different rhythm and their mind and their body is just programmed differently. So I think that our more sustainable energy throughout the whole day, that has to come through sustainable habits beforehand. So, knowing that our body has wisdom, knowing that our body knows when it wants to rise with the sun and fall with the sun, just like our ancestors did, or thinking about the way that our body naturally asks for nutrition, it asks for nourishment at certain times of the day. We have these rhythms that we have to listen to and be mindful that even if you are up at 7 versus 5, you're still going to need quality sleep before that. No matter how much earlier you wake up, you still need quality sleep before that time. You still need nervous system regulation. You still need your blood sugar balance, which I know we'll talk about a little bit more later in our conversation. You
Yeah,
still need hydration. You've been fasting all night. You've
for
not had
sure.
water all night, and you still need emotional grounding. So it really doesn't
Yes.
matter the time as much as why am I neglecting some of these basic needs? It's going back to that identity, which is what my coaching is all about, is going to that identity problem of high functioning woman, the lie that we believe that it's all about my performance and how much I can get done. That mindset is already just about creating a perfect me and not a present me.
Yeah, that's a powerful point right there. I love that perspective because biologically, forcing the body into stress patterns can actually backfire long term. So
Yes,
it's almost like
absolutely.
reviving or revving a car engine constantly without ever servicing the engine itself. It's like you might move faster temporarily, but eventually something will break down. And I think that's kind
Yep.
of synonymous to our body.
Yeah.
You mentioned about supporting the nervous system in the morning, having more of a sustainable habit, routine. As someone who works deeply in herbalism like myself and natural formulation, I've seen how overlooked nervous system regulation really is. Can you explain how the nervous system impacts energy, focus, mood, and overall
Mhm.
productivity?
Yeah. Our nervous system is central to our calmness throughout the day, our energy production and sustaining throughout the day. So let's kind of break that down. So, our nervous system, if it's staying in fight or flight mode all the time, it's
Mhm.
always reactive. We're going to be in a chronic state of stress.
Right.
And naturally, a chronic state of stress is not just going to be mental. There's not going to be only mental responses from that, but also very bodily, very physical.
Hmm.
So, first of all, you'll have increased cortisol. What's that going to lead to? It's going to lead to stress hormones surging, your weight gain, your cravings, and then enemy crash and energy
Yeah.
crashes with every craving that we give into.
Hmm.
And then we'll have a weakened immunity. Like you mentioned, it might be long term, it might be short term, but your immune system will be suppressed with
Right.
stress. You also
Hmm.
have digestive disruptions. Chronic stress can really trigger, especially for me, a lot of digestion struggles, bloating, constipation. So normal for a lot of these clients that come to me and say, I just have so many digestion problems. I just feel like so imbalanced. I can't lose weight. Those are the initial
Yeah.
problems, right? There's
Hmm.
some stress there, but there's really some deeper identity issue there about
Hmm.
where my regulation is happening or not happening and why. But
Yeah,
we see these first signs: the chronic stress, the weakened immune system, yes, the brain fog and the mood swings, because our nervous system also relates to our emotional ability. And
absolutely.
then poor sleep. That is absolutely going to be affected by
For sure.
an unbalanced nervous system, because your melatonin levels are disrupted. And then
Mhm.
you go and you try to fix that by staring at a screen for 2 hours. And then that's a whole nother wealth of problems.
Yeah.
So it really is directly related to our energy throughout the day and our balance.
Yeah, for sure. And that connection is so critical because people often think energy only comes from caffeine or
Yes.
stimulation in a
Right.
sense. And when true energy is really about regulation, recovery, like you said, resting and
Hmm.
resilience. Building our
Yeah.
immune systems, like you mentioned, is really important.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest mistakes you see
Mm.
busy professionals or even stay at home moms
Yeah.
make in the morning that quietly drain their energy throughout the day?
Hmm. Some of the common mistakes I see: lack of hydration in the morning, going right to caffeine, artificial sources of energy.
Yeah.
Looking at screens right away is huge. Starting the day rushed and reactive because there's too many decisions. There's too many
Mhm.
decisions right away. Not taking
Yeah.
time to mentally ground or just take a few minutes to remember who we are before it's what we
Yes.
do, to
Absolutely.
whether
Yeah.
that's meditation or whether that's just a little reading or a little prayer or just sitting, whatever it is. Um, and I would say skipping breakfast or just going to sugars or carbs is
Mm.
huge. And
Yeah.
breakfast is such an important meal. A nice, just get your digestion moving, to have that protein dense breakfast. Eat like a king at breakfast. It's the most important meal of the day. I see
Mhm.
that skipped a lot, or just sugars and carbs right away with caffeine. And that will ultimately lead to a spike and a crash and not sustained energy.
For sure. Yeah, that's really powerful. I feel like sometimes we have to really pay attention to the word breakfast because you are breaking your fast. And when you think of it
Mm,
in that way, you
yeah.
actually will make a little bit more sustainable decisions. If you haven't drunk any water for these, hopefully you're getting 8 hours of sleep,
Yes.
so you don't put it out there.
Yep.
For 8 hours, you haven't drunken anything and you haven't eaten
Yeah.
anything, and I feel like it's so important for what you put in your body first. And some of the
Mhm.
habits that I really connect with is having a tall glass, the tallest glass you can find, filled with
Yes.
water already on your nightstand, so when you wake up, you're
Mhm.
drinking it. It is really
Yep.
great to drink room temperature water first,
Yes.
and I also feel like when you are choosing what to eat, because your digestive system has kind of been sleeping and resting itself, you kinda wanna do something that's a little bit lighter. It's
Yeah.
so funny because my mother-in-law, she was really serious about, like, eating something like soups that are not too hot, but just like room temperature or a little warm, or maybe even having like a fruit bowl that were specific fruits that help. Sometimes you really have to break it down to
Mhm.
have a nutritious meal, and you can add that to something that's protein heavy. And
Yep.
if you don't have the time, it's okay to take a protein shake as soon as you wake up, so your body is working on it. And a
Yeah.
lot of times, that's the reason why we're not losing effective weight as well. Our cortisol is spiking so much that we're not really retaining what we're
Mhm.
putting out, and it's using stored up energy. So I think
Yes.
it's just
Yeah.
powerful, because a lot of people don't realize that their morning habits really create a biochemical domino effect for the rest
Right.
of the day.
Absolutely. Your
So I'm
morning
really glad to have this
choices affect,
conversation.
yeah, every
Yeah,
little choice we make in the morning affect how we're gonna show up later. And I
for
love what
sure.
you mentioned about the water. I have an incredible resource about the how to water and how to coffee guide.
Hmm.
And that is such a just like first number one idea is just have that 8 ounces of water right
Hmm.
on your bedstand so you're ready to grab it when you wake up. Make it
Yeah,
easy for yourself.
for
Sometimes it's
sure.
putting a flavor in it or something like that, but
Yeah.
have it accessible. Have it ready
Yeah,
to
have it
grab.
accessible,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just sometimes we make it, like you said, harder on ourselves. I've
Yeah.
realized that, like, one unstable morning can influence your cortisol, your cravings, your
Yep.
focus, your mood, even the sleep later on that
Mhm.
night, and so it's just really important to try to, be consistent on these new habits.
Yeah.
Now, you also talk about listening to the body's emotional and physical cues. What are some signs that are commonly ignored that indicate that your
Yeah.
body is under stress or out of balance?
Yeah. So often when I have clients come, often these high functioning wives and moms are coming, and that main problem that I work with is getting to the end of your day and your loved ones are getting the worst version of you because you're depleted, right? So
Right.
they're having all of these self-neglect problems, but they're often coming with some emotional and physical cues. So what are those? The number one thing that I hear is the afternoon crash. I
Hmm.
hear irritability and anxiety a lot. I think some other
Yeah,
big ones are those digestion problems, brain
for sure.
fog for sure, feeling emotionally disconnected from your loved ones, and
Hmm.
inability to lose weight.
Yeah, those are definitely the ones that I'm hearing the most as well. I think that's one of the most important conversations in modern wellness right now because
Yeah.
people are just truly disconnected from even their own body's language, like how it speaks to you.
Mhm. Yeah.
And as an herbalist, one thing I've learned is that healing often begins when people stop fighting their body and start to
Mhm.
understand it. So awareness is really key and you understanding, your body and knowing what it's saying and how to actually
Yeah.
treat it yourself.
Right.
Now, we
Absolutely.
mentioned earlier about blood sugar. And I
Yes.
think blood sugar balance is another topic that affects so many areas of health, but still
Mhm.
isn't fully understood by most people. Now, can
Yes.
you explain how blood sugar impacts energy, even
Mhm.
brain fog, cravings, and mental clarity?
Yes, absolutely. So the brain needs energy, right? And so it runs
For sure.
heavily on a simple sugar called glucose. And that's a blood sugar. And blood sugar is just how much concentration of glucose there is in your blood. So when there's greater stress in our body, that's going to create a blood sugar imbalance. There's going to be a roller coaster going on. So how do we stress our system? Well, we stress it by skipping meals, lack of consistency. We stress
Hmm.
it by overloading on caffeine. We stress it
Hmm.
on a high sugary breakfast. We can spike it anytime and cause those quick crashes, dips, and spikes. So a lot of those sustainable energy practices, those hydrating first things, eating a protein rich breakfast, eating balanced, consistent meals. That's something I work on a lot with women is that consistency of meal timing. Your body loves that. And
Hmm.
then also just being present with who we're being while we're eating, because who we are while we're eating is more important than what we're eating. We have to be slow. We have to be present to encourage our body to digest well, to enjoy that
Yeah.
food or quite literally won't respond the same. So that's also a couple of just sequences and handouts that I work on a lot with my clients. But that's the
Hmm.
main connection there between energy and your blood sugar. That what we're putting in our bodies does spike it or will calm it. And we want a
For
balanced
sure.
blood sugar.
For sure. And the eating consistent meals is really powerful. I know for a few of my clients, that has been the first thing that we kind of attacked first. And it is amazing to know that eating consistently, a lot of people feel like not eating at all will help you to lose weight or help your body be
Right.
better. But it's actually the opposite. Like eating more and consistently and a more nutritious meal will actually be more helpful. And
Yes.
a lot of times we may be eating a lot of meals, but maybe not enough. I know that for me, I try to stick within 4 to 6 ounces of any protein.
Yeah.
And when I first started weighing my food, I looked at the food on the scale and I'm like, I'm not eating enough protein throughout my
Yeah.
day. And
Right.
then also you have other options too. If you're not a meat eater, you definitely have a lot of vegetarian, vegan options, and even simple things like nuts is helpful, different variants of nuts. And so I think this is where nutrition, herbal
Mm.
medicine, and health
Yep.
science really intersect beautifully.
They do.
Because
Yeah.
many people think that they have an energy problem when in reality they have a stability problem. So it's
Hmm.
just really nice to kind of have that awareness.
Yeah.
Now, for someone listening right now who wants to begin making healthier changes immediately, what are some simple natural remedies, maybe even some herbs, or wellness practices that they can incorporate into their morning routine to support stable energy and focus?
Yeah. So, first, I would say just to approach this with curiosity, approach your body with curiosity and not judgment. To try something new, even just one thing, is a great victory for you. So if that's just
Mhm.
trying to put 2 glasses of water in before your feet hit the ground, if that's starting with just a little more protein in your breakfasts, trying to get breakfast before you're drinking a lot of caffeine or going, maybe it's delaying screen time for 20 minutes and instead choosing a grounding practice. Or
Mhm.
maybe it is an herbal tea, like some of these amazing herbs that we have, and ginger and peppermint and turmeric, all these anti inflammatory herbs that can support digestion and your stress regulation, trying some of those more natural elixirs, teas, absolutely would promote that. I also think that with all of these changes, it can feel like too much. So just choosing one thing and trying that is great. That even is a little bit more present to your body's needs and will help you just that much more during your day.
For sure. That is great advice. I feel the exact same way. A lot of times we kind of get overwhelmed, even in all the changes that we have to make. But if you just focus on one thing and just try to do something today, just focus on
Yes.
today.
Yep.
And I think that eventually you'll end up having a lot more healthier habits along the way or sustainable habits. I know
Yeah.
for me, curiosity is really key. I mean, that's why I even got into health science was because I was curious on my own journey. And I was
Mhm.
like, wow, I'm learning so much. And then I was like, oh, I can get a degree for this.
Right?
And of
Yes.
course,
Same.
you don't have to get a degree,
Yeah.
but it was just like, wow, this is what is naturally unfolding for me. And I
Mhm.
love learning about myself and my body. And also
Yeah.
that awareness helps me to help others as well. And so I just love practical solutions because wellness should feel accessible, and it
Mhm.
is.
Yeah.
It shouldn't feel like punishment or even perfection,
Yeah.
which I have battled for a
Yeah.
good duration of my life. And sometimes small, consistent shifts create the
Mhm.
most biggest transformations biologically. So I'm really glad that we touched in on that. Now, you
Yeah.
also mentioned breaking free from our all or nothing thinking or our flight and fright type of thing. Why do you think so many people struggle with consistency when it comes to health and wellness routines?
Mhm. I think because we're coming at it with already a prejudgment about ourselves of why can't I stick
Yeah.
to this, or this is my problem. But with coaching, it's different, right? With coaching, we ask the question, well, what is it that you want to be feeling? What is
Mhm.
it that you want? What support does your body need? We start there. You start with the identity, with the belief, because that's the only thing that's going to cause you to actually change a habit. And if you
Yeah.
change a habit, you change your life. So there
Mhm.
is great transformation, but it has to come from a place of motivation from your identity. This is why I want more energy throughout the day because I want to be a present mom for my kids while they're here. Or I
Mhm.
want to be a better presence for my husband when he gets home at the end of the day and I'm drained. I don't want to be drained. There has to be a
Right.
belief that
Mhm.
you can have a different reality and that consistency and the process matters so much more than intensity and the products. Really, it's about bettering ourselves in this moment because we're truly only in this moment. We're not too far ahead. We're
Mhm.
not yesterday. We're only right here.
Yeah, for sure. I think that mindset conversation is huge because many people approach wellness from their emotions, right?
Yeah.
Instead of rhythm. And I think nature itself um is
Mhm.
in a rhythm. And
Yes,
so the body
absolutely.
thrives on consistency, not perfection. So just being consistent with the habit, like you said, changing one habit ends up changing your life. Now, for someone
Right.
currently feeling burnt out, but still carrying major responsibilities, like whether they're a CEO, owning multiple businesses, entrepreneurs, having multiple businesses, family, even a caregiver or a parent, um, where would you recommend they begin first?
Great question. If someone is just starting out and you just need that first step, I would always start with just this mindset that regulation comes before optimization, right? So you can do so
Mhm.
much, but it will burn you out eventually. You will not be able to do it all forever. So starting with regulation is key. One of the very most basic things to do that well is to be mindful of our breakfast. I would say that's an easy one to start. before 9 a.m. Try to
Mhm.
have a great digestion routine going, breakfast routine going, getting some protein in. Another simple action I would say is 20 minutes at least before bed, no screens, and 20 minutes when you're waking, at least no screens. That you're being present, whether it's reading, whether it's deep breathing, whether it's music, meditation, yoga, some other way of being present with your body before you tap into the world and the world's needs and comparison and just doing before you're being for the day.
Absolutely. I definitely take on some of those practices as well. I know for me, when I wake up for an hour, I do not do anything on any phone, any
Mhm.
computer. I
Yes,
try
that's
to,
great.
before I even get out the bed, I wake up, but then I also go into a meditative state for about 15 to 20 minutes, even
Yeah.
while I'm laying down in my bed. And I'm really just visualizing how my day is going to go. And also
Mm.
when there are things that may pop up that maybe I didn't
Yeah.
plan for, to also visualize me being calm in those situations and be able to pivot without having an emotional spike where I am almost like panicking.
Right,
And so I try to
right.
visualize all of that before I wake up and also just sending good energy to myself, my body, my mind, and me as a whole, and then outside to my husband and my family, and also the world at the end. And so it is really interesting to have those practices, then waking
Mm.
up, stretching, doing some mobility
Yep.
exercises. That also gives you just such a great start to your mental clarity and feeling more energy. Even taking deep breaths is really important. I know a lot of people don't even realize that they're not really breathing or
Yeah.
taking deep breaths, and even that can give you more energy as well. So I think it's super incredible validation for people to hear because true wellness isn't about becoming someone else overnight. I know some people want to just become anew, but it's
Yes,
about, like
right,
you said, creating systems that support the version of you that already exists.
right. That's so beautiful. That version of you is there.
Yeah.
For sure.
It is. It's just screaming to come out and,
Yeah,
we have to listen to it. And
yeah.
so now we're at a stage of listening. If you are wanting to make some changes, that means that you're listening to your body and you're saying, "Okay, I'm gonna help you live better, be able to take on more without depleting your energy," because that's a really major thing. A lot of times we wanna take on more, but our energy is already at a 0%.
Yeah.
I always my mom is a pastor, and she
Yeah.
preached this one message about our cup being full, and I'll never forget what she
Mhm.
said to me. She was like, "You know what? When your cup is full, with water, like, what's in the cup is for you. So, if you
Mm.
think of a cup, like, it's kinda tall, so all of that energy that you built up is really for
Yeah.
you, and she kept pouring water in the cup where it overflowed, and she like, "See the water that's overflowing? Now that is for other people." And I think that was a great awareness because a lot of times, because our cup is full, we're willing to
That's
give
so
half of our
good.
cup up. It's like, "But
Yes,
that's really for you." It has to
right.
overflow in order to be able to give to other
Yeah.
people. And I think as women, we have to focus on filling our cups all the way up to the rim. So that way, when we're doing more, we'll have more to give because we're overflowing. So we have to get to a state of overflowing in our energy, which comes from sustainable habits for sure.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, for those who are attending our June 20th event, what can they expect to walk away with after hearing your full presentation?
Yeah. So after the full presentation, I'm going to be walking through an energy boosting morning routine for high functioning women. And I'm so excited. There will be a 6-part framework to this and a handout afterwards, some other free resources within that. But more so, I want you to hear this. I want you to hear that this is not going to be diets and gyms. It's not going to be that. It's going to be compassion and a listening ear. It's going to be wholeness, not perfection. Those are the words that I want you to be excited for. And with those 6 key myths about morning routines and steps to work against those, even just taking one of those into your life is going to improve your energy naturally. It's going to regulate your nervous system just a little bit more. It's going to help you be just that much more present for your loved ones at home.
Yes, we love that. Being present is key for sure. I am really excited for this session because it just really aligns perfectly with what we stand for at Be Relieved. And
Yeah.
also with this event being called Be Relieved by Nature, using
Mm,
both science and natural wellness to help people understand their body instead of like constantly
yeah.
fighting against it
Mhm.
is really valuable.
Right.
So I'm really excited for our session. I cannot wait to hear more.
Me
I want to be
too.
whole too. I can't wait.
It'll be great.
I
Absolutely.
Yes. I just want to thank you again for joining us today and giving everyone this sneak peek into your upcoming presentation. And to everyone listening, if today's conversation resonated with you in any way, this is just the beginning. Our
Mhm.
full event, Be Relief by Nature, we will be doing this event June 20th, and we're bringing together conversations like this to help you better understand stress, energy, nervous system health, adaptogens, even medicinal herbs, and evidence based natural wellness strategies, and just some encouragement and just some tips. This is not just a surface level wellness. Anything that I do is really, we're diving deep into this. This is real education and is rooted in both modern science and ancient plant wisdom, things that has been here for a while. It's just throughout times and experiences, we learned systems, certain things that work. And so we're just giving you our suggestions and we're here to help you along your journey as well. So this is happening June 20th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Zoom. So the link will be down in the bio. Thanks so much for tuning in, you all. I really appreciate you. Everyone from YouTube, Spotify,
Yeah.
Facebook. I'm so happy. My email subscribers. I'm excited for you all. Thank you so much for supporting us. And for those who want to go even deeper, we will also be having our VIP session as well,
Yes.
which is after the free online summit, and it's for $27, and all of us will be there. So it'll be me, Ellie, and Annie. She's our other speaker as well. And we'll be there to answer any questions, to show you our resources that we're providing for you guys, and really just breaking down, a lot of different protocols and tips and
Mm,
even stacking methods and practical implementation. So
yes.
make sure you secure your spot. Invite someone you care about and come ready to learn, okay? So thank you all for tuning in, and remember that your body is not working against you. Okay. It's communicating with you. It's doing this. It's holding you up and shaking you and say, hey, do you hear me? And let's answer the call. Okay. So see you at the event, and I'll talk to you later.